Thank you so much for purchasing Goddess by Porsche Venus sets. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a seamless install so that your beads are popping, they're looking good, and they're not all over the place. So we're starting first with the beater. I have 4 different examples of different things that could happen or could possibly be your scenario. So watch till the end, because if you have a specific question, I may answer it within this video towards the end, but if not, be sure to put your questions below. So we're starting with just putting some beads on. There is no correct right or wrong way to do this. You just going with the vibe, you adding a little razzle dazzle and listening to the ancestors and letting them just guide the process. So first we're going to put that lock inside of the beater, and I like to flip it up a little bit just for added security, and because I know that that first bead is a little bit smaller, so I had to work it on. And from there I just pulled it all the way through, and this can get a little challenging depending on how big your braid or your lock or your twist is. Next, I'm taking a few rubber bands. I usually like to do 2, and I'll either flip up the hair or I'll leave it straight. If I leave it straight, I'll probably use multiple rubber bands. And the reason why I do that is because you want the goddess bead to clamp around and to really be securely attached. So once you open it, you just drop that lock inside of there and close it up, and then you're going to proceed to rub your 2 fingers together, because that just really makes sure that it stays in place. And if you have locks, this process may be able to be accomplished without rubber bands depending on the size of your locks. So it all varies. Next, I am adding on some more beads, and just keep in mind, I typically look at the amount of beads that I have. The ones that I have a lot of, I find myself using a lot of those as fillers. So again, I am putting the hair inside of that beater and flipping it up, and then I'm coming closer to the end just so that they don't have issues getting on. And if you don't, that's why I typically flip it up, because if you don't flip it up, you can detach it from the braid. So I am just adding a little extra, and I will show you. While there's no right or no wrong way, I like to look at the braid that's next to the braid that I'm working on, or lock, because I don't want the same beads to be directly next to each other, if that makes sense. And you can even add in extra beads that you have already at your house, or you can get some to stretch it. But the beads that I have more on, I find that I use those more, or I may use a couple of those on one braid. And just looking at the one next to it, you just want to make sure that they're not the exact same, unless that was the vibe that you were going for. Now, like I said, it's no right or wrong way. So just get creative and do what works for you and your style. So I'm taking this rubber band, I'm flipping the hair up. This example is perfect if you are putting these Venus sets on your natural hair, or if you have maybe knotless braids and you don't want to cut your braids blunt. So if you want to, you can put that rubber band on by flipping the hair up. And then you're going to take that beater and essentially pull that hair right on up next to the inside of the beads. And now this may be difficult if your braid is thick, so keep that in mind. But you see how I went inside? Now I'm pulling that hair, well, pulling the beads down and pulling the hair through. And you're just going to continue that process through all of the beads until you get to the top. And some of them you may have to do a little wiggle jiggle to get it to go through. But take your time. I will honestly say that the first time when I did my entire head with these, it took longer to put the beads on than it took for me to braid my hair. So I had to take some breaks. And thank you so much for purchasing Goddess by Porsche braid and lock jewelry. Just know that a portion of all sales help create scholarship opportunities for young girls to learn the art of hair braiding. Not only do they learn the art of hair braiding, they also learn entrepreneurship, and they learn essential life skills. So just know that we do pretty, but we also do purpose over here. So we're just gonna pull that last bit of hair through. And from here, if we wanted to, we can then take the hair back down through that, all the beads, if it was a lot more hair left. But for the sake of time, child, I'm gonna just snip it here. And move all the beads up so that I have space to attach the goddess bead at the end. So we got it open already. We're just gonna place the hair inside and rub our fingers together. That really helps keep that bead locked and secure. And at this point, I'm realizing that, oh, okay. It's a little, one is a little long, and it's really a lot of trial and error. If this were my head, I probably would have taken it off and then redid it if the goal was to keep them all even. But for the sake of time and for just because I'm not going to do all of that, I am just going to improvise and make it happen. So again, taking a look at the beads that are next to the braid that you're working on, you want the beads to be slightly different, not the exact placement on the same, on the braid next to it. And continuing that process by putting the hair inside of the beater and sliding the beads onto the hair extension or natural hair. And so make sure, like they say, you measure twice, you cut once. It's easier for you to measure it a couple times, put the rubber band on, just to kind of sort of determine before you actually snip it. That may help. But since I realized that the second one was already going to be long, I just said, baby, let's just make it a little asymmetrical situation. So we got the goddess bead. We find the opening and then we just open it on up. We just pull it back and we just peel it back. We got it open and then we drop that twist right inside of there, and it's kind of long, but we're just gonna make it happen because it actually did fit. From here, again, we're gonna rub the tip of it so that it's really locking and securing around that rubber band, so that if you slightly tug it or it gets caught on your collar or you turn your head, the beads won't fall off. Now we're gonna move on to the braid, and I'll say this. Since I started selling these goddess beads, I've been seeing sometimes the beauty supply having these, and it's just such a testament to the fact that our culture really guides spending. It really guides so many factors of the hair industry. So we got us some beads on here. You're just going to take a look to see, okay, do we need a few more? Are we good? Attach the rubber band. So sometimes the braid is difficult to get inside. So I'll just take another bead and I'll just help stuff it down inside of there. And then, of course, when you come to the top, rub your fingers together like so to make sure that it really is locked in place. And there you have it. We got a little asymmetrical situation. But let me show you this, because remember I said I'll show you what to do if you realize that some of your braids are not even. So I'm just opening up a little space, and I found one of these crimp beads that come into the set, and it's metal, so you can also open it up. And you want to open it up big enough to fit the braid inside of. And so once you have that, you just put that around there, and then you just close it up. And there you go. And it's not perfect, but it looks way more even than it did before. And that's it. There you have it. Thank you so much for watching, for purchasing, for subscribing, liking, all the things. Till next time.